All right, so yeah, that was slick, and let's quickly move on to mean shift, and then we will take like all the questions at the end. Now, one limitation of k-means is you need to know like how many cluster centers you want. Okay, and the second algorithm which we are going to discuss, which is mean shift, it actually tries to resolve that. So this algorithm will automatically figure out how many cluster centers we have. And again, this is a clustering algorithm. And these are like some sample results from this mean shift algorithm. We will briefly go over how this algorithm works. But now if you compare this with like the slick algorithm, which we discussed, it's quite different, right? It's able to like create bigger segments for you if they are similar. For example, this lake and these trees over here, right? So if you are interested in like getting these kind of outputs where there's some kind of semantic meaning to these patches, then mean shift is actually better than slick, because slick is just giving you over clustering. It's just dividing all the patches. Okay. Now let's try to understand how mean shift work. First of all, it's trying to address the issue of number of clusters, which was required in k-mean. So we don't need to know like how many cluster centers we have. We'll try to automatically detect that. And the main idea behind mean shift is it tries to find the density in your data. Okay. Now let's try to understand what that means. For example, this input image over here, right? If you will take each pixel location and let's say you have some kind of you're just looking at the intensity of each pixel, right? So it might look something like this if you plot like a scattered visualization of these pixels. Okay, so I think this is showing you this is the lab space, I think here. So V is like the intensity. And I think this is HSV space. So this is giving you like the color value, the hue, and V is like the brightness of the pixel, and the third one is the saturation of the pixel. Okay, so basically you are just trying to plot each point into this three-dimensional space. You could have done it with RGB as well, which is perfectly fine. Now, what I wanted to show here is, if you look at these points, so each of these point belongs to like one of the pixels in this image. Okay. Now, if you carefully look at this distribution, you can see like there is a highly dense region here, right? And all these points are then scattered. You might say, okay, this is a dense region here as well. Then again, a dense region here. So what mean shift tries to do is it tries to find these denser regions, and these are like treated as distributions. So then what mean shift will say that, okay, this is some kind of distribution, and all the points which are actually inside this region, they are sampled from this distribution. Okay, so it's kind of trying to do distribution modeling, and which is quite different from like the way Slick was working, because in this case, like the distribution of the points will play a very, very major role. Okay, so these are also called, you can say like local maxima or some kind of modes. Okay, so wherever you have this high density, you say that, okay, this is one of the mode in your input image. And these might be like based on the colors you have. For example, if you have yellow color, you will get like one mode for yellow color, maybe one mode for white color, one mode for pink color. So whatever different distributions you have, which can form like some kind of grouping, this algorithm is going to figure those things out automatically. Okay, another interesting example over here. You can see that, for example, this dark circle here. So all these pixels which are inside this circle, they're forming this tight group, right? And this is just one segment. And if you have to say, okay, from which distribution this is coming, all these pixels will be like very close to each other. If you try to plot, let's say, some kind of histogram from these pixel values. All right. So what mean shift tries to do is it tries to find out center of such distributions. Okay, for example, let's say this is some kind of initialization. You have this red box. It will try to move towards the center of that distribution. So for example, if this blue bar chart over here is just showing you the histogram of the pixels you have at this region, right? So what this mean shift will try to do is it will try to fit this box perfectly on this distribution. Okay. And again, this is an iterative approach.